देश की धड़कन रेडियो फीजी 2 का प्रसारण कार्यक्रम में आपका स्वागत हम कर रहे हैं। सुंदर ये मौसम और ऐसे मौसम बहार में आप भी कार्यक्रम का आनंद उठा रहे हैं, आपको शामिल कर रहे हैं। और साथ में
गुड मॉर्निंग आपको हम कहना चाहेंगे। अगर www.fbc.com.fj पर आप हमें सुन रहे हैं, हम सफर प्रोग्राम आपके लिए जारी है। सुबह 9 बजे तक हम आपका साथ देंगे। गुड मॉर्निंग आपको।
अपने दिन की शुरुआत हमारे साथ कीजिए। रेडियो फीजी 2 पर हम सफर प्रोग्राम हर सुबह 6 से 9 बजे तक। जॉइन अस।
In this bulletin, Lautoka police investigate alleged murder. Cabinet holds first post-elections meeting. An education ministry to adopt non-performing schools. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and this is FBC News. Police are investigating the death of a 48-year-old woman at Nakaimbula in Lautoka early this morning. Her body was found in a bush at about 12:30 a.m. at the Koroipita community settlement. It's alleged the woman was assaulted by her de facto husband during a domestic dispute. Police report they have a suspect under arrest and an investigation continues into the circumstances surrounding the woman's death. This afternoon, they were still questioning the suspect's sister and eyewitnesses in the community. Poorly performing schools and those desperately in need of development will soon come under the direct care of the Education Ministry. Dr. Mahendra Reddy confirmed on FBCTV's For the Record last night that the ministry will micromanage these schools until there is a noticeable improvement. Ritika Pratap has more.
20 primary schools and 15 high schools will be adopted by the Education Ministry from next year.
The government has allocated grant money to the schools. We, based on student numbers, we now, going ahead, we are re-looking at that to take into account these geographical factors as well, so that a small rural school which has other factors which is kind of disadvantaging it will be addressed by the revised grant allocation formula, per capita grant allocation. So we are looking at that.
Dr. Mahendra Reddy says not all these schools are based in rural areas. Some are in urban settings, while others are prominent, well-established institutes. School management will be involved in this new system because poor decision-making has been blamed for deteriorating conditions and non-performing students.
Now, the poor-performing schools and where management did not adhere to the rules of how to handle the grant money, we intend to adopt these schools for the next 3 years. Adoption meaning the school will get that money, but we will control the money. We'll say, we will examine. We are adopting the school means we very closely monitor the school in terms of what the school needs. If the computer lab is not there, we'll take that money and say, we'll buy this computer and I'll show them the receipt. Here we bought this amount of computer, this amount of money is left now.
The minister also says the new principals and head teachers will be given specific targets, and once achieved, the schools will be handed back to management.
And also, these schools, principal and VP, head teacher and assistant head teacher will be changed now. They haven't performed. They will be changed. We'll identify the right people, we'll send them to these schools. These are the schools that we are adopting. And we will control the fund. We will work very closely with this new head teacher and principal, and we'll provide all the kind of support that the person needs, he or she needs, so that we get the school back on track.
None of the underperforming schools have been named, but Dr. Reddy did confirm that some are based in Nasinu, while some are in outer islands, their geographical location adding to the problem. Ritika Pratap, FBC News.
Fiji will work through its commitments to meet international labour conventions. This is the response of Attorney General Aisaid Qayyum in response to a recent International Labour Organisation mission to Fiji. Maggie Boyle reports.
The ILO sent a contact mission to Fiji this month to investigate claims that workers' rights are being violated and trade unionists intimidated.
There's no restrictions on trade unionists. Trade unions are live and doing very well in Fiji. There are certain industries in Fiji that have been deemed to be essential industries where workers can organize themselves, but they need to be workers from within the organizations that are declared to be essential industries. So people still have the ability and the right to organize themselves as employee groups within those organizations.
ILO mission head Abdul Karoma reportedly told overseas media that Fiji has much to do to meet its commitments.
Many other countries have lots of work to do in terms of ILO conventions, nothing peculiar about Fiji per se, and I think that's something that we need to work through.
Syed Qayyum says despite this, the consultations with the ILO contact mission has been fruitful.
We did have some very useful discussions, in particular, for example, training on various ILO conventions and its implementation. So it was overall a very good meeting, and they'll be presenting their report now.
In 2012, the ILO delegation sent to Fiji to investigate allegations of workers' rights violations was expelled. This time around, government has welcomed them with open arms. The ILO will report its findings to its governing body in Geneva next month. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
Public debt in 2007 totaled $2.7 billion and government borrowings totaled $260 million. The Auditor General's report for 2007, which was tabled in Parliament last Friday, shows that total expenditure amounted to $1.7 billion. This was a decrease by $23.3 million from 2006. There were over-expenditures in the Republic of the Fiji military forces by 56% of its budget, while the police reported 5% over-expenditure. The reasons for the over-expenditure were the unbudgeted salary and allowance payments, an increase in expenditure due to the events of December 6, 2006. Overall savings incurred savings of $115 million compared to over-expenditures of $9.9 million in 2006. The first cabinet meeting post-elections was held at the government buildings in Suva today. Led by the Prime Minister Vurenge Bainimarama, cabinet is comprised of all government ministers. These weekly meetings are where policy matters are discussed, new strategies are proposed and new initiatives are adopted. Proposals are put forward by individual ministers and discussed among cabinet members before being passed for implementation. Prime Minister Vurenge Bainimarama's cabinet includes 15 ministers. After the break, Fijians prepare for daylight savings from November 2nd.
So what was the question again? Oh, why is it called the traffic jam? Well, you know, the reason is it's because I have two really cool cars. Seriously cool cars. And I love drifting, racing, because I am fast and slick, and plus I like to create a bit of traffic jam myself with a whole lot of great music. Bulletin, my name is Real, your host and DJ, right here on the Today FM Traffic Jam every weekday from 3 p.m. to 7. Right here on Today FM, today's hit music.
Welcome back. This is FBC News. With Fiji's economy set to take off, the Ministry of Finance has established two working groups to address the pending boom. Finance Minister Syed Qayyum says the areas of focus are the education and finance sectors. Maggie Boyle has more.
With the national budget to be announced in a month's time, prioritising government spending will be critical.
There's a lot of consultations between the Ministry of Finance and the respective ministries. There's always, of course, a jostling or balancing, if you like, between the requirements of ministries, what they would like to do, and of course our financial capability and financial strength.
Minister for Finance Syed Qayyum says indications are that Fiji is on the precipice of an economic boom. To this end, two focus groups have been set up to address this. The first is education.
One was, and I understand the Minister for Education has already had a meeting, discussion with various stakeholders regarding our preparedness for the huge amount of construction that is going on, and perhaps the absence of skill sets that currently exist, or our ability to meet those requirements. And he obviously is talking to the stakeholders, in particular also Fiji National University, to see whether we can prepare enough trade people to take on the construction work that is going to, really, in fact, shoot off in the next year or so.
The second is finance.
The other group was also to discuss areas in finance, where there is a requirement for venture capital in Fiji. The banks traditionally tend to be very conservative, and which has seen a bit of pressure on institutions like the Fiji Development Bank to pick up those types of financing that conservative banks generally don't do.
Syed Qayyum says commercial banks need to be more responsive to the market.
Even banks like ANZ have that type of facility in other jurisdictions, and obviously they don't have it in Fiji, and there is perhaps a need for it. We need to be quite creative about it. Perhaps banks can get together and set up such an entity where the higher risk financing can take place.
Fiji's economic growth for 2014 is conservatively forecast at 3.8%. This figure is expected to be revised upwards, given growth in a number of key sectors. The national budget will be released on the 21st of November in Parliament. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
Daylight saving time, also called summertime, will come into effect in Fiji from Sunday, November 2nd. Ellen Stolz finds out how people plan to utilize these longer and brighter evenings.
The concept of setting the clocks in order to make better use of natural daylight was first introduced by U.S. inventor and politician Benjamin Franklin in 1784.
Have plenty time to sit with the family and talk to the family. Especially for me, I love gardening. I love gardening, and it's good for me. When back from work, I can do gardening and especially exercising.
Okay, I live in New Zealand, and right now it's the same. If it's the same time as Fiji, it'll be so convenient for me to ring my family, so I'm not disturbing them, all hours of day and night.
As a student, we can go home early and have a chat with our friends and, example, play soccer and cover our hobby activities. And for those who are schooling at the night time, they can go home early and be with their families.
And for others, it means more money in their pockets.
Taxi driver from in Lami Town. The daylight service will be like now is there's 6 night, and that time will be the daytime. We can job from 6 to 7 like this. Good job. So we have plenty money.
Meanwhile, the Fiji Commerce and Employers Federation says workers should use the additional daylight hours to spend with their families.
But I think the true essence of daylight savings in the Fijian context is that people are able to leave work early when it's still daylight and have a couple of more hours at home to do productive things within their home.
About 16 countries observed daylight saving in 2014, either at the beginning of the year or, like Fiji, at the end. Ellen Stolz, FBC News.
The 7th Tuberculosis Control Meeting for the Pacific Islands is being held in Nadi to help identify ways to further strengthen TB mitigation methods. Christopher Chand reports.
Tuberculosis, or TB, is a leading cause of death around the world. Globally, 8.6 million people had TB in 2012, and there were 1.3 million deaths.
Then for the region, in Western Pacific region, it's WHO demarcation of the part of the Asian region, including Pacific, which is 1.9 million TB cases, and then 110,000 TB deaths.
These figures are staggering. In Fiji, TB cases are reported to be around 269, but this is expected to increase to 400 this year.
One of the most important core issue for this increase is the funding. And also, now we put into place the framework of our HR, our human resource. So we've even have new microscopy centers in the Fiji. South is now opened up as one of our microscopy centers.
The increasing detection of TB in the country is a positive sign that the program is working by slowly decreasing the communicable disease.
According to WHO estimates, the TB is gradually decreasing now. But the program is trying hard to detect more cases. That's why case is increasing. patient diagnosis is increasing, but actually the TB should be decreasing by now. But this reduction of TB, speed of reduction of TB is quite low, slow normally. It's not only Fiji.
The three-day meeting will discuss future policy directions on further reducing the burden of this disease on Pacific countries. Christopher Chand, FBC News.
2 days out from Diwali and spending is at an all-time high around the country. Chanel Sivan tonight takes a look at what consumers are after and how it's impacting businesses.
Food, clothing and fireworks. That's the priority for Hindus leading up to the Festival of Lights. Of course, Diwali has deeper religious and cultural roots, but one can't deny the economic effect it brings every year. Anil Patel, owner of Krishna Vegetarian Restaurant from Nosuri, says the trend now sees more families preferring to buy sweets than to cook at home.
$100, more than $100, some people afford to buy. They keep the budget at home and just come and buy on the Diwali day. Now they're preferring buying because the major cost is almost same at home. Don't have to waste the time at home. They can come and buy quality things. So it's going good. The sale is very good. People are coming in at the last moment.
Come Diwali, staff at this restaurant work at least 20 hours a day to keep up with the demand. On Thursday, people will light diyas or oil lamps on a moonless night and pray to Goddess Lakshmi for wealth and prosperity. It's also when people come out in their best and brightest. Some spend hundreds of dollars on new clothes. This cutwork sari, which is embroidered with Swarovski crystal stones, is one of the most expensive pieces, costing over $2,000. But for those who can afford it, Diwali is a time of extravagance.
The highest range of collection we got is the $2,995 worth of sari, which is a stonework sari, and we have got a customer here who has just purchased it today. While she was looking at it, she has just purchased it now. Our staff, they have been working tirelessly for this Diwali season. We are having extended hours for the customers, and we can say that our staff and the customers have made this Diwali a joyful one.
What's Diwali without colors and spectacular fireworks? Rups Big Bear, one of the largest retailers of fireworks, says as we get closer to Diwali, people tend to spend even more.
Yesterday we got one customer bought about $2,000 fireworks. They bought almost 5 carton, 25 shots, cakes and about 10 carton for this one, crackling, Roman candle.
Most businesses will be giving discounts and will be open for extended hours over the next 2 days, trying to get as much business as possible. Chanel Shivan, FBC News.
We turn to sports now. Here's Jamie with the latest.
Thank you, Jackie, and good evening. Coming up, Vodafone Fiji's 7th side and Shadow squad back in camp to prepare for Dubai and South Africa Sevens. And James Mbolambiu eager to take on his new role with the IRB. Details after the break.
छू 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 हे हे नमस्ते फीजी, आपके हर एक प्रॉब्लम की दवा लेकर मैं आ गई हूँ 9 से 12 बजे तक आपकी सहेली रेनू। छू 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 40 में 20 का दिखना है। मैं हूँ ना आपके साथ में मिर्ची एफएम पर 9 से 12 बजे तक मंडे टू फ्राइडे। मिर्ची इट्स हॉट।
The Vodafone Fiji 7th side and its extended squad marched into camp today as coach Ben Ryan gets an early start for the Dubai and South Africa Sevens tournaments. The two squads that returned triumphantly from the Oceania and Gold Coast Sevens will undergo a rigorous 3-day camp in Pacific Harbour. The only player missing was forward Apisai Nangaliva, who has taken up a contract in Sri Lanka and will join former reps Pio Tuwai, Samu Sengiwa and Tsueli Lutumailangi. Meanwhile, Ryan is eager to get the ball rolling in his bid to win Fiji's first back-to-back title in the World Series.
The management to gauge their level of fitness after the last 2 tournaments and how they fit as today. Then Ben and our trainer will work on our program for the next 3 weeks
preparation.
The squad will break camp on Thursday with a host of players released to participate for their clubs in the Central Coast Sevens in Australia as well as the Sukuna Bowl Challenge. The next leg of the RB Sevens World Series will be the Dubai Sevens in December. Renowned local whistleman James Mbolambiu is looking forward to his new International Rugby Board calling. Mbolambiu has been assigned to officiate in the Women's Sevens World Series and is eager to start his new full-time role with the IRB. Lautoka reports.
James Mbolambiu is heading into his 7th year as an IRB referee in the Sevens World Series. Now the soft-spoken whistleblower will officiate in the women's circuit, and this presents a new yet welcome challenge.
Well prepared. It's a new opportunity for me to do all the women's. I've been now assigned to do all the women's 7 series, and I'm really looking forward to the challenge.
Mbolambiu will be one of 6 referees in the women's circuit and one of 2 full-time officials alongside South Africa's Rasta Rasivenge.
The goal is to go to the Olympic, so if I did very well, hopefully I'll get a place in the Olympic Games. But apart from that, I'm just enjoying the experience and also looking forward to the new places and the new environment of rugby that I'll be involved in the next few couple of months.
There are 6 legs in the Women's World Series, and the first stop will be Dubai in December. It's another milestone for Fiji's most successful referee and paves a new pathway for local officials to follow. Lautoka, FBC Sports.
The Fiji Under-20 football squad is in camp preparing for next month's President Cup tournament. They have been pooled with OFC Champions League runners-up Amikal FC and former Bahraini Premier League champions Bus 18. Rohit Deo with the details.
The President's Cup will represent the team with a chance to test its mettle before next year's World Cup. They are the first Fijian team to qualify for the Cup, and no, playing at the highest level won't be easy. Team officials say the players have been gelling in well.
Individual players are improving day by day, tournament by tournament. As we go closer to the World Cup, we have seen a vast difference between the time when we called them in on the 20s and now. Looking at the last tournament, our boys and the 20 boys are doing wonders for their district teams.
The coach adds, although it's difficult for outside players to join the squad now, they are not cancelling out the possibility.
There is a boy from Senganga, Gabrieli, who has been recruited in now. He was part of us. He came for the last trials and now he is in with the team. We had injuries to Samuel Anambenia, who is out of the tournament now. He may be out for next 2 to 3 months. So we have brought in Gabrieli from Senganga. And then there is another boy who has come in from Brisbane, Australia, to give his trials, Sheklin Khan. So we'll also be looking at him, how he is. Can he join or can he be part of our squad now?
The Fiji team get the chance to show their President's Cup style from the 17th to the 23rd of next month in Auckland, New Zealand. Rohit Deo, FBC Sports.
Meanwhile, the New Zealand team, which participated at the 2014 Fanka Muslim tournament over the weekend, has raised security concerns about their stay in Fiji. Team officials say there was a break-in at their camp and the matter has been reported to police.
We're pretty upset with this break-in in our camp. Rohit, there was an incident in the weekend where one of our hotel rooms were broken into and a few items together with some money that were stolen. We have reported this to the police and they are very cooperative. They're helping us to look into this case and hopefully I would hear back from them soon.
Police are investigating the matter. Meanwhile, the hotel in question says it will not comment on the issue. That is your sports for tonight. It's back to Jackie now with business.
China has been an active investor in Fiji over the past decade, accumulating over US $200 million in foreign direct investment. In a specific monthly report, the ANZ Bank says, notably, a significant amount has come in because traditional multi- and bilateral partners have been unable to contribute under military rule sanctions. The bank says, with a successful democratic election in September, traditional partners are expected to contribute a large amount of capital investment over the coming quarters. It says, in effect, many countries will be playing catch-up to match the contribution China has made. Weather time now with Trish.
Why, thanks, Jackie. Your beautiful salwar kameez looks really, really gorgeous.
Thank you so much for that.
Now on to today's conditions. Cloudy, cloudy, cloudy. That was the weather word for the entire country today, as skies were overcast everywhere. Now with our temperatures today, most places were on a cool low. As for those cloudy skies, as you can see, Suva and Savu Savu 128, Nandi, Lautoka and Lambasa all hit 30, whereas the highest today was Ba with 31. If you're wondering what tomorrow's weather will be like, well, the forecast is cloudy skies with occasional showers for all major centers around the country, for which most of you in the west wouldn't mind a little bit of rain. For Mariners, southeast winds 15 to 20 knots and moderate to rough seas. This beautiful shot taken by Wilson Chow at the Suva Wharf at night. If you'd like to send pictures, you'd like to send them in to citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj and share it with us.
Thanks so much for that, Trish. Recapping our main stories, Lautoka police investigate alleged murder. Cabinet holds first post-elections meeting. An education ministry to adopt non-performing schools. This week's poll question, we're asking, are real estate prices in Fiji realistic? This week's question, please answer by visiting our FBC website to take part, www.fbc.com.fj. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC News or simply hashtag FBC News. That's all from us for tonight. Join us again at the same time tomorrow. Ni modamanda.
Isang bulan na mo orang cuma naman tadi kuan ni rawon ni bibi mga tadi kay misa mo. Niya na isang bulan na sero ko ni sana. Cuma kira na mo orang cuma. Tu na sile. Isang bulan, oyo Mr. Ben. Kela pa? Na magkikira ni bibi mataka mo ni kira mo orang bukan main ono. Kena liwa. Na buru FM. Ang betul.